Late at night, the doctors and the TV crew give them a fright. The movies are cheesy and so's the host. Look out, honey, here's 13 ghosts. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, Bill the Monster, Eater. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, please, come on.
So, Dr. Destruction, what's this Big Top Dr. Destruction's radio broadcast all about?
Oh, well, Dr. Destruction's Big Top radio broadcast was a radio program that saw a lot of success. And, well, it managed to allow me to introduce, like, a lot of celebrities and rock stars that don't usually get a lot of big media attention.
Oh, wow.
Right. Well, one of the bigger ones, though, was Rob Zombie. I did interview Rob Zombie. He was one of the most straightforward interviews that I've ever had, if you want to check that one out. David, we've caught up to the one and only Rob Zombie, a very big name in the horror business. And, well, I guess my first question is kind of where did it all start out in the beginning?
Oh, man. That's a long ways off. I don't know. I don't know where it all started. I don't even know where it's going to end. I don't even know where I am right now. So, somewhere.
Well, that's very good, and well, you know, I mean, then I remember I was coming back from Madison when they debuted your I think it was the first solo album, and it's amazing that was about what 10 years ago, and how the staying power that one had. So that that was a different plateau, and you were coming up on the movie thing. But so how did the solo career change things for you? I guess.
I mean, the solo career was that was just out of necessity. I mean, I'd been in White Zombie since. I guess we started in '85, and things were great. I mean, at that point, White Zombie was huge when the band fell apart, but it was just bad combination of personalities. Nobody could get along. It wasn't fun. So I was like, I'm just going to break away and do it myself, which seemed crazy because that never works. It's always a disaster for most people, except for maybe Ozzy and Sting. It never works. But I had to do it just because I can't do things unless it's fun, and White Zombie just wasn't fun anymore. So.
I think when you were in White Zombie, you played some clubs around here, like before it really went big, and maybe early '90s. The Unicorn. Were you at the Unicorn?
I don't remember the names of any of the places, but I do remember coming here. I mean, for sure, we would play because we had a tour manager at the time who was from here, so we would always be very conscious of being in Wisconsin. So, yeah, we come here a lot. There was never anybody. The shows were always terrible. No one would ever show up. I mean, in the early days, it'd be like 5 people.
Well, I remember you had mentioned back you were still trying to find a niche back then because you guys were doing something nobody else really did.
Yeah, we were really out of sync with the music scene at that time, so it didn't make sense because we weren't really metal and we weren't really, grunge didn't happen yet, so we weren't really anything. We didn't know what the hell we were. And then even once we signed to Geffen and we were making records, it still didn't make sense. We needed the world to come around to our side of things more than because we couldn't fit the other way.
Well, it has an incredible way, and you are definitely one of the few people that's had an extraordinary solo career. And I mean, just maybe what's some of your influences that if you have any or any particular favorites out there that made you want to pick up an instrument or start singing, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, growing up in the '70s as a little kid, I mean, I worshipped Alice Cooper and Kiss and everything that you would, Elton John and Queen and Blue Oyster Cult, whatever. So that was really the thing that made me love music. I mean, but at the time, in a way, those bands were so larger than life, it didn't seem like a career choice. It seemed unattainable, and then the thing that really made it seem like, oh, you can have a band, which is the same story you've heard from a million people. Like, once you get into punk rock and discover the Ramones and bands like that, that's like, oh, this seems doable on some level. So that's basically what it was.
Well, that's really really awesome. And now this is where it starts, where you've done something that nobody else did. I remember a quote someone said about Lon Chaney Sr. that he was talking to Boris Karloff, and he said, what you got to do is you got to do something nobody else does and do it better than anyone else. And now in your films and your music, it seems like that's really in a way what you've done.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really never set out to, with any conscious way, ever thinking like, oh, I want to do something no one else has done. I never really think that. I just really wanted. There's things that I want to see and I don't see them. So I go, well, rather than sitting around crying that I don't see it, I should go do it myself. And that was sort of the thing with movies. I always loved movies, but I just wanted to be part of it. I always wanted to do the same with music, but now it's just about making movies that I think should exist that don't exist. I think all movies are too clean, they're too corporate, they're too everything. I just get bored. I go to the movies, I get bored. You can sometimes sit there and you can recite the dialogue to a movie you haven't seen yet. It's so predictable, you know. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly who's going to live and who's going to die because of who's cast in the movie. I mean, and I just get bored. Sometimes as much as I love movies, I hate going to the movies anymore. So that's, you know, that's sort of what inspired me there.
Yeah, I really totally enjoy the way you put them together. Do you use different cameras and such for different effects, or do you use one basic camera that has multitudes of effects on it, or you use different cameras for different things?
Every movie has been different. I mean, the last I don't remember what cameras we've used over the years. I mean, I shot A House of a Thousand Corpses many different ways. I shot that on 35 millimeter, but then later I shot some of it on Super 8. I shot some of it on video, on just a tiny video camera I had. And then, but I was always searching for the look. And on Devil's Rejects, I used Super 16, which gave me the exact look I wanted. Because when you blow up the negative, you get an extra grain, but you still get a really sharp image, and it looks kind of like how movies looked in the 70s. It's just that extra grit. Because that's the other thing I hate. Movies are so clean. Everyone's like all about high def. I'm like, I don't want things to look any better. Things already look too good as far as I'm concerned. I usually go back and take my negatives and try to make them look worse. And then I shot Halloween on 35. And I hated it because I thought the movie looked too clean, so I then went back for Halloween 2 and shot it on 16 to make it look dirtier.
Wow, that growing up in the 70s myself, I noticed that you seemed to kind of enjoy, setting some things in that period and such. And maybe I had it reminded me a little bit of like movies like Gargoyles or The Devil's Rain. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. With John Travolta.
Was it William Shatner? Was John Travolta in that one?
In it too, yeah. And Ernest Borgnine, of course.
Ernest Borgnine, yeah. He's another. Didn't you have a question for him, Persephone?
Yeah. I got a couple questions actually. Well, yeah, I heard you're starting to remake The Blob.
Well, no, not really. I mean, that's one of the films that came to me to possibly do. Right now, I'm not working on any movie. I have like 4 or 5 different movies in sort of early development, and it could be The Blob, might be something else. It's just the thing is, it just takes so long. That's the one thing about movies that's kind of different than records. Records, you can get your band, you go in the studio, you're working. Movies, it just takes so many factors to fall into place to get the production moving. And so that's why I have a couple different things. It could be The Blob, could not be The Blob.
Well, also, I actually recently seen El Super Bisto.
Yeah.
And what made you want to do a cartoon?
I sort of had this long-range plan with El Super Bisto. First, I did it as a comic book, and I thought, okay, if I had this idea that if I tried to pitch it as a film, it would never happen. But if I do it as a comic book, I can take the comic book, use the comic book to sell it as an animated movie, which I did. So now it's an animated movie. And then I thought, well, we could take the animated movie and try to pitch it as a live-action movie, because I always want to make a movie where you would build an entire world on a set, so everything is fake. Like all the characters' muscles would be fake. Everything would be fake, but live action. That's why I purposely cast the voice actors that look just like the animated characters in real life. So if I did go make it into a live action movie, I could use the same people.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if they know that, but that was my plan.
Oh, that's cool. Well, also, I'm a really big fan of your wife and the work that you do with your wife. I think that's really, really cool that you guys do a lot of stuff together. Yeah. And her Total Skull line. Is she going to be doing anything further with that? Is it?
I'm not sure what she's doing with that at the moment. I think she's going to expand that in some way soon, but I'm not sure what. She's sort of taking a mild break from it. I think it was overwhelming her, because it started off as this tiny little thing she started for fun, and then it's kind of like that, be careful what you wish for. Then it started getting popular, then she's like, oh my fuck, this is a lot of work. It started like, oh, this will be fun to do, and now suddenly she's running this big business, so she got a little freaked out by it.
Wow. Kind of cool though.
Yeah, I just think it was more.
I guess a couple more questions here. I know you're a busy guy. Any actors out there that you'd like to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
Oh yeah, tons. There's tons of amazing actors. God, there's so many people I love, and there's people I have worked with that I'd like to work with more. I mean, especially Paul Giamatti. I mean, he did El Superbeasto, but he worked one day, and even on that day, he was deathly ill. So I would love to work with him in some capacity. I mean, there's tons of people. You know, there's so many great actors.
Very good. Any aspiring words for horror movie makers everywhere?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many. I don't know what to tell people with that. I mean, you just have to do what you want to do and just do it, because everyone will try to persuade you to not do it, because everyone's biggest fear, especially your best friends, is that you will do it. So your best friends are the ones who want you to fail the most. So ignore the advice of your friends and family, because they'll steer you off the path first, because God forbid you become successful, then they look like idiots. So take them out of the mix first. Just do what you're going to do. You know, it's like this is the main thing. You have to do what you love, because if you don't, you'll give up. Because the amount of work it takes to make it work, you have to be just sickly passionate about it. That's what I say. So can't phone it in ever.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and well, this has been great. A lot of fans on the Crimson Theater will thoroughly be enjoying this. And of course, I got to meet the remaining members of the legendary New York Dolls and interview them. Understand having an alias?
Having an alias?
Well, yeah.
Buster. Having an alias.
Yeah, an alter.
Oh, yeah, sure. I have many of them.
Well, no, while I'm on that, is Buster ever going to return?
Buster's in Betty Ford Clinic, and I don't think they're going to let him out, if you want to know what I think.
Okay, you know, where did I see a little bit on I think it was on your website, about a balance of optimism and pessimism. Did you say that?
I think somebody got me to say that in an interview, because they were saying that, I'm interested in this kind of a philosopher, kind of a comedian philosopher who's was a Romanian cat who lived in Paris, and his name was Emile Cioran. And this woman who had interviewed me looked him up and started reading some of his stuff, and she said, "Oh my God, it's so pessimistic, you know." And I think it's funny, so I was trying to explain to her that the void is ever present or not present, depending on your definition of nothing. And so I was trying to explain to her that you have to have a sense of humor of such things, because you want to keep on taking in air and enjoying the fruits of the Maya.
Okay, because, every time I've been looking through all these pictures of you, and you're always smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're always happy.
Sure. It's kind of like whistling in the graveyard.
Okay. So how's this tour been going so far? Now you've got 3 brand new albums. They're all fantastic. I mean, I've got every one. I played them over and over and over again. And so what's it like now?
Dancing Backward in High Heels.
I love that album.
On 429 Records. Is that what it is, 429?
C'est pas.
Well, yeah, that was a real surprise too, and I mean, just what's it like to still be doing this? Should I say it's been 40 years?
No,
with 400.
We're 300 of rock and roll years, yeah.
Okay.
And so we're still young.
Oh yeah, definitely young.
Biblical ages, of course, we've got a lot more to go. We're like old turtles.
But you're moving pretty quick.
Well, it's there's help. There's help involved. I don't want to get into it.
Can I say that? Do you want to know what it's like?
Yes.
I'm going to say, 2 days ago, we stopped for breakfast in a place called Albert Lee, Minnesota. Now, one would think, oh, Albert Lee, Minnesota, what could possibly be the significance of Albert Lee, Minnesota? Well, if you look it up on Wikipedia, you'll find under famous people from Albert Lee, Minnesota, one, Mr. Eddie Cochran.
Ah, awesome. Well, you never know where they go. I mean, Orson Welles came from Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's where I'm from. So Orson was.
Really? Well, you should be very.
Really?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Wow.
He did. So we were talking about your guitars a little
Yes.
bit earlier, like the Dan Electro. Now you
Yes.
play like a lot of hollow bodies and different things. So what
Yes.
what was involved with the sound you're looking for?
It's really weird that this is like it's a perfect transformation here because he just said Eddie Cochran. I mean Eddie Cochran. That's why I play those hollows and and I fuck around with those pickups and I change everything. I mean I get it from Gretsch and then I just like change the whole thing, put Gibson pickups in there and and anything else that doesn't quite work. And of course you gotta hammer down that bridge. If not, boy, she's like, every time I play it, it'd be like out of tune every other thing, and it's still out of tune anyways, But hollows are their own animals, and they move a lot more than solid bodies and stuff like that. More susceptible to the weather.
Well, there's definitely a definite sound. What was starting out? I'll ask you both. What was some of the I suppose the bigger influences and really shape? Because I mean, you have a very unique and cool sound. It's always been my favorite. And what do you think was the beginnings of shaping that?
Houdini.
I personally like a white guitar. Sil likes a gold guitar, but he also likes a white guitar. He used to have a white guitar. Now he has a gold guitar.
This is the first.
But I'm not sure because I can't remember how the white guitar sounded, but I think the white guitar sounds as good, if not better, than a gold guitar.
It's exactly. If you use a purple Marshall compared to like a black Marshall, the purple one is a lot louder. Sounds better. It looks better. She's sexier, but the color just makes it louder for some crazy reason. It's loud. I don't know what it is.
I think you get a guitar. Some people like a red guitar. You know what I'm saying? So it's all a matter of taste.
Okay.
And some people don't like guitars whatsoever, and they start singing and blowing the harmonica.
Okay. Well, that's
I
right.
like guitars. If you're referring to me, I like guitars. I just find them kind of cumbersome to, carry around.
So what can we expect from the set tonight? What are we looking
If
at?
you were a tuba player, you'd have to schlep that thing every place you went. No, I like a harmonica. You know why? It fits in your pocket, and you're on your way. And say you have to run,
You know who's got it really good, David? Who's that? The Triangulist. He's got it really. He's in the union. He sits there. He goes tinka tinka tink. Here's $1,500.
He's the triangle player. He stands next to the timpani player.
Yes.
He brings the timpani player a pastrami sandwich before the concert, and he has the timpani player give him the look when it's time to hit the, and he's got it covered.
He doesn't even know how to read. You see this? I should have been a triangulist. I'm beginning to find out my true,
Okay.
reason for being.
As opposed to being a triangulationist.
Well, I've tried that. That didn't work. Landed me in the slammer.
Okay. Wow.
This is too much information.
Well, it's going to come in handy later, I'm sure. But how's the tour been going for you?
Please don't show this.
The tour. We're just getting warmed up. We've been out like what is it, about 3 weeks now?
I thought it was like 3 years already.
No.
With this tour.
We're just getting warmed up.
Nah, okay, yeah. It's been about like 3 months at least.
Awesome.
Something like that.
And you having a good time?
We're having a good time.
Any more movies coming up for you?
Not that I know of, but I'm available.